welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, today we are going to be taking a shift from politics and discussing something that is important and touches each one of us. Old age, looking after people who are elder to us, who are old parents, and also what will happen to us when we get old. I think that's a huge worry with all of us because we are here for our parents, but with the breakdown of joint families, with children living abroad, what is going to happen to all of us at the end of the day also? Old age homes are becoming more popular, but still they are not as popular as in the West because still there is a feeling that apna ho to we should look after them at home. Yet, out of necessity sometimes you do look for outside help, and there are options available. There are health attendants, there are organizations that help and cater, community service, public health. All this is coming of an age in India. So I have with me to discuss this topic a panel of experts, people who are working in the field. They're going to help us simplify things and tell us what is available. Joining us on the show today is Dr. Sushma Chawla. She is the founder of Hope Ek Asha and she specializes in dementia care. We have Dr. Rama Baru, who works at Public Health. She's a professor at the Center of Social Medicine and Community Health at JNU. Dr. Manpreet Kahlon, she is the Chief Customer Relation Officer at Imoha Elder Care. And Rahul Mishra, he is the founder of Vesta Elder Care. Dr. Chawla, if I'll begin with you, a little bit, if I can ask all of you just two short lines to just explain to us exactly what these titles mean and what you do. I'll start with you.
Okay. I had a chance encounter with dementia when my mother started showing signs of depression. And way back in '94, nobody had heard about dementia or Alzheimer's. She was just aging, and the behavior symptoms which she was showing, we didn't know how to tackle it. After 5 years, when she expired, I started holding the hands of various families who were suffering from caring for the patients. And so Hope Ek Asha was found, and which is basically care of the caregiver. We care for those who cannot care for themselves, whether it is a caregiver or whether it is a patient.
It's a very interesting initiative. Dr. Varu, a little bit of what you do.
Well, I've been an academic in a university, but I think it is my personal experience of taking care of my father who was suffering from chronic kidney disease for 10 years. But towards the end, he developed symptoms of dementia and, a sort of a complex set of neurological decline, cognitive decline. And it was at that point I realized how complex and emotionally draining it is for the person who suffers from this condition, who loses his whole sense of personhood, and for the caregiver who has to hang on there and sort of really very often just use common sense and keep moving. And I'm very glad you're talking about caregivers because the fatigue of caregiving is something that is highly under-acknowledged in this process. So the suffering is there for the person who has the illness, and the suffering is equally there for the person who loved them.
Because they face the death twice. Once when they lose the person they love, and secondly when they actually lose them physically. So it is very, very traumatic.
Very, I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. Manpreet, a bit about Imoha. What is it that you do and how did you come here?
Yes, so I'm the Chief of Customer Relationships at Imoha. But I mostly look at the healthcare vertical at Imoha. So we at Imoha cater to the entire ecosystem of an elder, which includes healthcare, non-healthcare, all the services that are required by an elderly. Because we believe that holistic care of an elder is only possible if you take care of their mental, emotional, social and physical well-being. It is not only about taking care of the health, as earlier elder care was synonymous with healthcare, but not anymore. And the lifespan of an elder has increased. The number of years that an elder lives post-retirement has increased. So because of that, more and more services are required for them, including healthcare. And as Dr. Sushma was just mentioning, along with dementia, depression, they say, is a very, very common thing with the elder now. That is again because of loneliness. So we try to cater to such kind of requirements, which would further lead to health deterioration. So these are the kind of services.
Do you have like a daycare facility?
No, we don't have any daycare facility. We, in fact, believe our motto is that an elder should be looked after in their own home,
So you
the
said-
comfort of their own home. We will provide whatever required for an elder in the comfort of their own homes.
So you send attendants, trained attendants.
We do, and also when I talk of non-healthcare, we do take care of their engagement for the loneliness of an elder and any small little services, small little requirements that they have, any kind of a domiciliary support like paying of the bills or maybe any technology troubleshoot that they have. So Imoha has a good sturdy mix of healthcare experts and ex-defense personnel. So ex-defense personnel look after the non-healthcare aspect and the healthcare aspect is looked after by the
Trained
healthcare
person.
experts.
Okay. Rahul, you also, first, what made you go into the stream of healthcare?
So like the other panelists, my inspiration of starting Vesta Elder Care was also my mother. She's now 81 years old. I founded the company 4 years ago. And, I travel a lot between India and overseas and found that, slowly, her dependence on, small things required, more dependence. And I couldn't find the right care. Either you could find a nurse or you could find a maid. You couldn't find somebody who was, specifically, matched to their needs. So that's where the inspiration of starting the company came. And we focused on elder care because that was, the sector which I thought that, had the maximum, potential and requirement. Then, of course, with COVID, we learned a lot about families who live away from their parents, people who live abroad. We were receiving calls from South America, from Australia, and they required all sorts of different services. And also we found that, one family member is generally looking after more than one person. They're not just looking after their parents, they might be looking after their in-laws. So we had somebody who needed an ambulance in Gurgaon but needed a nurse in Noida. And, that sort of stress, different time zones, etc. That sort of inspired us to then, increase our suite of services to the full spectrum of healthcare, similar to what Imoha does. But then use technology. So we are basically focused on developing a platform, a technology platform, which combines all the, healthcare and health-related services and puts the family member sort of in charge of managing the health. So, you can manage multiple profiles. You can add family members. So, I can add my sister, I can add my brother.
This means like how does it help you monitor what's happening back home?
The caregiver, whoever is looking after the elder, they have their own caregiver app. So that, they manage all the health data, the medication, all of that. It enables us to upload all the medical reports.
And you take them to the doctor visits or
Yeah. So we have doctors who visit at home as well.
Okay, you have a panel of doctors.
Yeah, we have so like I said, the full spectrum of services related
Which
to
includes things like helping with their chores as well as their medical needs.
We are not involved in the sort of day-to-day chores.
Okay.
Ours is more sort of health and then matching the right care, for, the sort of client.
Okay.
We focus more on the sort of aspect of healthcare and, starting from even critical care, we're setting up ICUs and then maybe bringing the person back to good health and then transitioning to a sort of long-term caregiver. So like the example again of my mother, she just suffered from pneumonia and she was in hospital. So she went from ICU. First we were looking after her at home. Then a situation came where we had to admit her in the hospital. She was in the ICU. And then slowly you step down back to the home with a couple of nurses and then transition back to the sort of caregiver, the one who just helps with the day-to-day.
What I'm hearing is also that what they are doing is providing a sort of a family setup, which maybe, these are some things which, within the family someone would do. Your mother-in-law is not well, the child would do it, the daughter-in-law, the sister. Now, wo sab nahi hai, so we have to depend on trained people from outside. In your Hope Ekasha, exactly how do you look after the caregivers?
Look after the caregivers.
You said caregivers, no?
We provide them emotional support. we guide them,
Therapy.
we counsel them that now, how do you take care of your father or mother who's suffering from dementia, and what to expect next. That is very important. They are all groping in the dark. We also have a daycare facility. We encourage them. Okay, please send them for cognitive retraining, rehabilitation to our center. Of course, I have only one center in Safdarjung Enclave and plan to start another one in Noida. But Delhi and world is so big. We need such centers in every corner of the society. So we provide them cognitive retraining, cognitive rehabilitation, keep them busy, and they are all sitting in a group of friends. We don't tell them that you are coming to a center. We tell them that you are coming to a club. And they come and, they've started recognizing also which dementia people don't do. And they enjoy their activities. We have an activity trainer. We have volunteers with us. We do singing classes. Every Thursday is a singing day. And then we play Antakshari also. Remembering a song starting with a is very difficult for dementia patient. We just start it and they go on and they enjoy it. So seeing them enjoy, we also feel comfortable.
Okay.
And most important, the caregiver, the family, whether it is a family caregiver or a professional caregiver, family is at respite, that my mom is at a safe place. So for 3-4 hours, she can concentrate on her office work, on herself, or on the home household chores. And if it is a professional caregiver, they come with the patient, but we don't ask them to sit near the patient, because again, they will keep calling them. So what we do is we make them sit in the balcony. So they have a chat round amongst their peers.
Very nice idea.
Elderly people, they have their activities monitored by our volunteers and our activity expert who sees what they are finishing and what they are starting.
Okay.
And we encourage them. We give them marks, we give them stars, and it's
Actually, that's the thing. They become more like children also. It's and it's not just because of dementia. I think that's the cycle
it
of
is
age.
a fun.
Yeah.
Right,
But
starting
Dr.
from-
Rama, sorry, how do you see, is this the future then, centers like this? Are this so?
Yeah, I think one of the things that really comes out very clearly is, and as Dr. Chawla mentioned, see, this is a beginning. And I think all three panelists who are on this show today have really gone beyond the medical care story. Because I think one of the greatest frustration for caregivers is the fact that you're going from one specialist to another, and the whole focus becomes medical care, and more medical care. But the reality is, whether it's dementia or any other chronic disease, medicine forms only one part of the whole story. And very often in stages of decline, medicine becomes peripheral. And one of the things I told my father's nephrologist was, is he having dementia and cognitive decline because he is in the final stages of CKD, which is the chronic kidney disease? He said, that I cannot answer, you speak to a neurologist. It was so frustrating to be taking him from one specialist to the other, till the point we decided we are not going to anyone anymore. And he actually passed away peacefully at home, which was the greatest gift I think he got. But the point I'm trying to make is, having this multidisciplinary vision where you put the elder as a human being in the center is, I think, something that connects all three of you. And I've been looking at other examples, like not the West so much, but East Asia, And there are very interesting examples of how people are trying to bring back community-based, home-based care, especially in Shanghai in China, where I've done some primary work, where they have combined markets and states very effectively. So you have for home care agencies like yours, which look at a holistic care, but it's supported by insurance, which is public.
Wow.
Here it is not.
Here it is not.
Here it is
So,
not.
you know, and it should be, because ultimately these things are not very cheap, you know, and if you want to say you want to run a good service, it costs money to the company that's, does
the
a
lack
good
of
service.
hospital bed, I mean, the lack of hospital beds, if you can look after somebody at home,
Nothing like
you're
it.
basically
Nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Because
the one
emotionally
thing,
it's very, very supportive.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they don't want to move out of their homes. That
Yeah.
is the other. No, none of us do. But when
And
you're
it's
older,
dislocation for them.
I think the last thing they want to be told each time is that they're sick. Old people, they don't
want to be told.
they don't
I'm
want
going to take a break and come back and keep the conversation going. So don't go away. Hello and welcome back to the Roundtable. We are here discussing elderly care, what it means to grow old in India, what are the options, what are the care options really available to us. And Dr. Wai, before finishing, the break, you made a very good point, which is, it's the emotional well-being rather than the medical well-being and the sense of community that really helps, which is not there. And I think that's, Manpreet, is what also you're all trying to create and provide.
Absolutely correct, Priya. So in India, the family support system has always been the societal norm. So now with economic development and societal changes or modernization towards nuclear families, there's been a complete disruption in the family support system. And that's how, and it's been at such a high speed that neither the healthcare system nor the society was prepared to take up the challenge. So that is one reason that we are not geared up as we should have been. And India is growing at a very fast pace. It is expected that there are going to be about 340 million elders by 2050, which is quite a number. And I hope we are absolutely geared up.
And I have another number
then.
to add. I did a show with a neurologist from Max, Dr. Rajshekar Reddy, and he's saying 50% of people above 80 will have dementia, more or less.
Absolutely
We are
correct.
not prepared for this grey tsunami.
Yes.
Grey tsunami, sahi bola.
Because it's an age-related condition again. It is inevitable for anybody to age, but now, as we just discussed, that the lifespan of a human has increased and the number of years that one has to live post-retirement or in elderly age are much more. So the problems keep multiplying and increasing. So when we talk about healthcare, since most of us have discussed about healthcare, there are definitely challenges, and attendants and nurses at home and doctor's visit or physiotherapist visit at home is available with Imoha as well. And Imoha also has a sturdy mix of ex-defense personnel, as I told you.
A little less about Imoha and more about what's happening.
Right. So the non-healthcare part of it can be has to be taken care of, because emotional, societal well-being, if not there, physical well-being cannot be there. So health and society, they go hand in
The
hand.
importance of group activities. I heard you talking about how you organize online group activities. How important is that in today's setup where as you said, there is a breakdown of joint families?
So very, very important, because loneliness is one big challenge which leads to depression. So we hold a lot of online engagement programs. Online, it has come only post-COVID. Prior to that, we used to have these activities in the condominiums for elders.
So you go to places and organize?
We used to, pre-COVID, but post-COVID, everything has changed. None of the elders wanted to move out. So they've taken very well to the technology. They are very happy with the online platform that we have. We have a lot of engagement activities, and they've made clubs of their own. There are a lot of singing club and dancing club and all of that. So they do participate in all such clubs and interact quite a bit with each other, make their own groups, go out for picnics and enjoy themselves.
This kind of community participation, do you have, because the apps are more for the caregivers, not really for the person themselves.
So we have a balance of both. We do community engagement, like similar to what Imoha does. We have events in different societies. And we also have sort of health camps, where we organize multiple sort of medical checks within RWAs, so we tie up with resident associations, and we have a full team, from a nutritionist and a physiotherapist, just to do a sort of just a health checkup. And we also have a a couple of subscription programs, where somebody who doesn't require full-time care, through the app sort of can be managed remotely, through our sort of call center, etc.
Okay.
But yeah, engagement is something which is very important. Mental stimulation. I think as they age, they become closer to children, and the family member, the caregiver, whoever it is, the son or the daughter, if they live here, with the parents in the same household, dividing their time amongst their children, between the children and the parents, there's always a balancing act. There's a lot of guilt involved. There's so many, aspects of the caregiver. If you're living away, that gets amplified even further. So specialist people, specialist companies who can provide these kind of services, engagement, keeping them entertained, like you take children to, these classes,
Yeah.
etc. It's the same thing is happening with elders, and it's
more
happening
likely.
more and more. And I think it's the need of the hour,
But there is this, what he's saying, I agree with him, the feeling of guilt, they want to do, but and also you do, even if you're in the same house, or if you're not in the same house, so the guilty even more. How much of your life do you put on hold? How much do you give? It's a very difficult balance.
We help them
How do you-
overcome their guilt. We have so many caregivers every month or alternate month, as per the convenience of the caregivers. We arrange a share and care meet. So they all come at our center post lunch, and they all sit down and they share कि मेरी बहन नहीं ये करती, मेरा भाई नहीं ये करता, और वो ऐसे नहीं सपोर्ट करता, मेरा भाई बाहर रहता है, he doesn't even call up twice a week, So all those complaints, idea is not that we are going to give lectures on spirituality or good family health. Idea is to listen to them. They need to vent out. कि मेरी बहन नहीं participate करती, मेरा भाई, किसको बोलें वो? They cannot talk to the relatives. I remember when I was caring for my mother, my other 3 sisters were stationed abroad. So I was all alone. So I need to literally pull in my extended family, and I had growing children. That pressure was also there. I had to literally pull in the extended families. Now we take the details of the extended family, we talk to them. और अगर किसी के पास टाइम नहीं होता, तो हमारे जो वॉलंटियर्स हैं वो उनके पास बैठते हैं घंटा, 2 घंटे, 3 घंटे. They simply need to vent out, and we need to listen. That is very, very important.
But another thing I wanted to add to Dr. Chawla, that in her case, the caregivers are staying with the elder and they understand what the problems are. But on ground reality is that the kids who are not staying with the parents, the NRI kids or the kids who are staying in different cities, wherever the parents are staying in different cities, the kids are unable to understand the requirements of the parents very well.
That's
They
true.
do not understand. They think that emergency is the only thing that parents are worried about. This is the last thing that the parents want.
Very true.
Societal engagement is all they want. If their health also, they actually put behind the parents. Whereas the kids always feel, no, this is the primary thing. We must only cater to this. In fact, we did a survey in 2019 for about 350 plus elders and their kids who were not staying with them. It came out very clearly that elders feel that only 11% of elders felt that whatever arrangements the kids have made for us to cater to our requirements, it's satisfactory. Only 11% of them felt. Rest 89% said no, they do not even understand what we require. So that's a major, major gap.
So what do they require? What I feel from my saying, I think they feel that the control is missing. They want that control back in some form or the other. And of course, community. What would they require?
No, I think just to come back to this question of caregivers, guilt is one, but there are a lot of conflicts between elders and their caregivers also. I mean, we should acknowledge that because, we almost are seeing elders as passive in this, but elders can be extremely demanding of you.
Yes.
And and so what I'm saying is it's like an emotional dance going on. And very often they can guilt trip you also.
Yes.
And that produces situations which the caregiver doesn't want to talk about, because they feel guilty out of that, saying that how can I say my mother is being difficult? I always say my mother is difficult sometimes. When I tell her that, because Amma, you're just being difficult. And it's okay to say it, but very often we don't have the vocabulary and we feel it's something that you should not say. Right? No, so to come back to this question, yes, I think elderly like control, and I want to use my own example. My mother said to me, if I come and live with you, then I cannot run my house the way I would want. So I'd rather have a space where I'm in command. She can take care of her 2 attendants, she can tell them what she wants. So once I told her, yes, you are the queen now. So you live your life according to the way you want. And it's very empowering, as long as they keep physically okay. If there's a medical emergency, then clearly that's, but like you rightly said, medical emergencies happen. It could happen to anybody. But if you don't get obsessive about that, there are many other aspects that one needs to look at.
No, I think what you've said is very correct, as has been brought out in this discussion. It's not just, as the medical this thing, but it's also a sense of belonging, a sense of being needed. In fact, my mother, her main question was, after she retired, she kept saying, what do you want me to do? And, can I help? And I always think, no, why trouble her? She's retired, let her be. And that's the biggest mistake, because they want to feel needed. They want to feel needed. They want to be a part. But at the same time, how much of yourself do you give? Because, you also have it's a very fine balance, very difficult balance. But I do hope that some takeaways from this conversation will help you find that balance. But thank you all for coming, sharing your experiences, and doing the good work that you're doing. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.